My father was a lovely, kind, reserved nut job. I say this in the nicest possible way. When he died, he believed he was both 50 and 100 at the same time. Like the Queen, he had 2 birthdays, his official and actual, and insisted he got presents for both. He was incredibly old-fashioned and yet had flashes of intense liberality. He might not, in an instinctual fashion, approve of, say, short skirts, bared flesh, or anything fashionable, but he did believe passionately in living for the moment. If the idea occurred to him to swim naked in the sea, then he would do it, as we discovered one birthday party in Hove. He was never very well, my father. He joked about his tendency to get floored by colds, which we all had and threw off, but which left him at death's door. He said disease had moved on a lot since his day. Despite what people said, he wasn't a hypochondriac, so we were surprised, distraught, when he was carried off Christmas 1999 by a touch of flu. There were other odd things about him. Things you only really discover later in life when you get in-laws and live with other families and realize that other people, though different in many weird and wonderful ways, really are not the same as your dad. He took Armistice Day incredibly seriously, incredibly scarily seriously. He used to dress up in full First World War private's uniform, a genuine antique. I wouldn't mind so much, but he was never in the army. We checked. He missed national service, he never joined up, yet he was completely obsessed by it. He went on tours of all the sites, all the cemeteries. And when he did, he cried. Cried all the time. And he was scared of old people. Often, walking in the street, he would see someone in their 80s or whatever, and he would turn away, run away, sometimes. It was silly. You'd think we'd realize it was mental, but when we were kids it was just a game, or rather he made it into a game for us. For us. But it was deadly serious for him. And he grew the longest beard in the world. Oh, again we checked. We measured it when he slept. It was longer than the one listed in the Guinness Book of Records. He thought that was really funny when we told him, but when we tried to get him to register it with them, we drafted a letter and everything, he refused. Said that would defeat the point. He said he started to grow his beard in 1967 to hide from his friends. Who these friends were, we never found out. It was clear we weren't supposed to ask. And he could be very funny about fruit. It wasn't that he wouldn't eat it. It didn't do him any harm. He could eat anything. No, he was, I think, afraid of it. Actually afraid. I remember we were passing through a street market, and there were all the stalls and the smells of fruit and veg. And anyway, I cheekily reached out to pick up a plum. I think I might remember it wrong. And as I went to take a bite out of it, Dad screamed at me. I don't mean angrily, I more dodge the oncoming bullet, no scream. Like I might die or be poisoned or worse. He screamed and I dropped to the plum and the street vendor started shouting, and I remember what I really remember, not the fruit or the place, just the eyes, the terror in Dad's eyes. Then he saw an old person and we had to leg it. And trees. My father spent a lot of time looking at trees, really looking, standing in a park for hours, just staring at a tree. I asked him once, "Do you like trees?" "No," he said. "Can't stand the buggers." "Oh," I said. "Why are you staring at it then?" "Because you can't trust trees," he said. And I believed him. Somehow he used to find ways of making all this behaviour seem normal, well, anyway, when I was growing up. And to do that, he would make fun of it, and he had this story that he said explained everything. It was about a soldier going to the front in 1917. He used to sit on the side of our bed on Armistice Sunday and tell us this story. There once was a young boy who almost became a soldier boy in the Great War of 1914 to 1918. When he was a child, he played on a tree. Well, at first he played on just a bit of a tree. The first time he played on the tree, it was almost as big as he, just the remains of a blackened branch. But as the years passed, the blackened branch grew bigger. Though this didn't seem odd at the time, as at the time he thought with the logic of a child. He played on a bit of the tree when he was 3. He played on the fallen trunk of the tree when he was 4. He played around the lonely stump of the tree when he was 5. When he was 8, the tree was complete. Overnight the fallen trunk unfell. The bits of branch and trunk and stump conjoined so that the tree was no longer bits of blackened, rotten wood, but had become something whole, still black, still rotten, but complete, upright, tree-like, even. This process was almost complete by the time he was on the cusp of manhood, 16, 17. By then the tree was almost perfect, almost alive. From rotten twigs, unnoticed by everyone except him, it had reverted to fullness, undecomposed before him. He'd stopped playing on the tree and taken to watching it from his bedroom window at night, wondering what it was, this strange tree. Meanwhile, while this tree pulled itself together, the world around was thrashing itself apart, and no one seemed madness immune, not even the boy, as he and all his fellow friends were fighting fit, war-hungry, and ready to go out to bash the Boche. The day came when the boy was called to be a soldier boy, and the days went by before serving, basic training, a uniform, a gun, how to point and how to shoot, how to run and stab and slash, and then one last spell of leave in life before the train and the boat and the screaming fields of France. It was the night of his final night at home, where mother and father and cousins and aunts attempted to pass on what wise words they had, and there was a storm gathering around the familial hearth, building up from a simple ripple in the soup to a rumble over the fish to a bombast of the beef, threatening to ruin his going-away dinner, if the dinner was not already ruined by the communal unspoken fear for the boy. His mother thought the storm a bad omen, but kept her counsel. His father, proud that he had joined up as if he had a choice, thought it the perfect send-off, sharing his counsel, saying that this meant that right was on their side, victory was near, and other half-digested words. Then, over dessert, there was a terrific crash of lightning and thunder, both so close together that it was clear the bolt must have struck nearby. The moments passed, and the lightning had no sequel, a lonely bolt, so everyone settled down and raised a toast to king and country. But the soldier boy kept thinking, "It's hit the tree. It's hit the tree. It must have hit the tree." He didn't sleep well that night with nerves, and in the early dawn light gave up on slumber to go for a final walk round the gardens to that impossible, dead, black tree. But in the morning light, it was clear. The tree was perfect. It was no longer burned, no longer black, no longer dead. It was a perfect, living, life-giving tree with a single fruit, a plum, or he had never seen one, hanging, inviting, enticing at head height before him. He picked it, and without thinking took a bite. As he bit, the air grew cold, icy, the world around dimmed, but he wasn't paying attention to the world. He was eating a fruit, and it was sweet, sticky, with a tiny nut in the centre. If he had looked up, He would have seen buildings growing, shrinking, building collapsing, but he didn't notice because he was staring at the tree. Was it him, or was the tree smaller, younger, and the detail and the colour of the bark was, he couldn't put his finger on it, oddly different. Absent-mindedly he sucked the last of the flesh from the fruit, looking at the extra youthful tree. The air seemed to move again, and, as he looked, as he sucked, the tree grew smaller before him, noticeably this time, shrinking down till it was barely a sapling, a twig almost, and the houses around him had changed again. If he had looked, he would have seen them dirtier, less brick, all office greys and glass. Still staring at the tiny tree, he absently licked his fingers to rid himself of the last of the sticky juice. And the tree, the twig, seemed to be sucked into the ground. Gone. So amazed he was, so surprised at this slow-motion dream speeding up so, he dropped the nut on the ground, dropped the seed from the fruit of the tree on the ground, dropped onto his knees to look for some trace of the tree, turning as he did the soil over the nut of the fruit of the tree, pressing it deeper into the ground with his knee. He started to think this was all getting a bit silly. So he made his way back to the house to say goodbye. But his house was gone. The street behind him had changed. Number 37 was still the same, Victorian brick, but the others were different. Offices, grey. He must have wandered off down another street. He wasn't at home at all. He was tired, confused. So he stumbled along till he found his way to the train station, all the roads being the same mix of what he knew and the totally alien. And as he got to the ticket office, he realised he was probably a bit late for his train. There he was, without his kit, ready to jump on a train for the boat for shipment for France and Boche fighting in the Great War. And he was only just discovering that it was now the 21st of May, 1967. And he was a long way from home. I didn't think much of this tale until the other day. When going through my father's estate, I found this version of the story, and in it his birth certificate, March 17th, 1899. He always said March 17th was his real birthday, but that his official birthday, when he started again, was the 21st of May. I think the conclusion is obvious. My father was a compulsive liar, or an identity thief, or just really weird.